There were a lot of interesting products introduced at SHOT this year, but there were also a few products that I think are long overdue but still didn't make an appearance. So here is a list of 5 products that I wish had been introduced this year, and 1 product that was introduced but shouldn't have been. The Mossberg MC1 SC. Mossberg isn't exactly a long-standing established name in pistols. They're famous for shotguns, so it's not like people have been clamoring for Mossberg to finally release a single-stack subcompact. I mean, this would have been disruptive a few years ago before the Shield came out. Back then, the only tiny 9 was the Rohrbaugh, and that thing was like $1 million or something. But now, yawn. Another striker-fired subcompact. We have the Shield, the XDS, and several single-stack subcompact Glocks. They didn't even try to hide the resemblance to Glock. It almost looks like the striker is interchangeable. Good thing they used that orange plastic though, so no one would notice. Don't get me wrong, it's good to have choices, but this feels like a whole lot of me too. But enough of me bitching about what did happen. Don't you want to hear me bitch about what didn't happen? Number 5 on my list of products that really should have been introduced at SHOT is a line of BoltAction Rifles chambered in pistol calibers. To help you visualize what I have in mind, I have spared no expense on these sophisticated illustrations. Ideally, these should be available as integrally suppressed single-stamp guns with short, ported barrels, but even a line of 16-inch suppressor-ready rifles would be pretty neat. As you may have heard, action noise keeps a self-loading gun from being really spooky quiet. But a light, handy rifle in 9mm sporting a silencer would be a real hoot, and it would have some practical use too. 147 grain HST has more than enough mojo to whack coyote and similar-sized critters, and doing it without making too much racket is even better. If that's not macho enough for you, consider that a BoltAction 44 Magnum could launch subsonic bullets literally twice as heavy as typical subsonic 300 Blackout. Number 4 is something that got really close to being perfect, but not quite. The Keltec CP33 looks ridiculously fun, and I need to have one because reasons. But when they released the PMR-30 22 mag pistol, they released the CMR-30 right alongside it. Since then, the ATF has approved the use of pistol braces. Twice. So it only makes sense that the CP33 should have been released from the very beginning with a collapsing pistol brace in the style of the CMR-30's collapsing stock. I suppose it's all academic though, because it's not as if we'll see any in stores for another 5 years anyway. Keltec is in the business of designing guns, not making them. At number 3 on my list, I think it's high time that Glock introduces a truly modular pistol system. I mean, yes, Glock parts are already somewhat interchangeable, but what I'm talking about is a line of frames, slides, and barrels that are designed with interchangeability in mind from the start. Say 6 different frames with full-size, compact, and subcompact sizes available in the 9/40 width as well as the 10mm 45 width. Alongside those would be a line of various length slides and barrels. You want to put a G26 length slide on a G17 frame? Go for it. The end user should be able to select exactly the frame size, barrel length, and caliber they want and swap between them with ease. No more arguing about how stupid the 19X is. Other companies like SIG and Zero Delta already offer their own takes on modularity. If Glock doesn't do it, the 80% community might just do it for them. While we're at it, maybe we can get an aluminum G20 frame. Number 2 is actually a set of 2 cartridges that I've wanted to see for years. Now, I was pretty excited about Winchester's announcement of 350 Legend. A straight-walled 223 case firing 35 caliber projectiles has some serious potential for terminal effect. 357 mag is already an absolute mad lad from a 16-inch barrel, and the 350 Legend will have substantially more case capacity. But I want to see an ammo maker make 2 new cartridges by taking 50 Beowulf and necking it down to 35 caliber and 30 caliber. In 30 caliber, this should produce much higher velocities with far better ballistic coefficients than any of the big bore AR-15 cartridges like the Beowulf or 458 SOCOM. Imagine AR-10 performance in an AR-15 sized rifle. The future is now, old man! But the number 1 spot on my list? That's something that gun owners have been puzzling over for years. Why? Why won't Hi-Point release a carbine that accepts Glock mags? Sure, adding the threaded barrel was neat. And it's cool that they finally got around to a double-stack magazine for the C9, even if it is some goofy proprietary thing. But let's be honest, the one thing holding the Hi-Point back from being a pretty solid choice for a home defense gun is the magazine capacity. And don't give me any shit about how we have that 20-round single-stack mag. That thing is utter nonsense. The Hi-Point carbine isn't fancy, but it is a serviceable gun that would do quite well as a home defense gun for anyone on a budget. It isn't terrible, but it could be a lot better. Hi-Point should also ditch that stupid Spaceman Spiff stock. A folding stock would be great, and it really shouldn't cost much more than that goofy springy thing they're using now, but failing that, they ought to just return to their original. There should be a Picatinny rail section on top of the receiver with a simple fold-up aperture sight, and it should have 4 short Picatinny rails out by the muzzle. It shouldn't be too difficult to redesign the grip for Glock mags, but if there wasn't enough room or some kind of engineering magic to get it done, then they could rotate the bolt and insert the magazine on the left side of the receiver a la the Sten gun, with cases ejecting down through the pistol grip. I predict that if Hi-Point releases a Glock magazine carbine, they will sell 15 million units in the first year and put every other gun company out of business. But that's just my opinion, and it's worth every cent you paid for it. If you disagree with me, fight me. Have a great day.